Did Ryan Reynolds ditch Blake Lively at the premiere of Another Simple Favor to save his own career?
They will prepare for that a million different ways. They will tell journalists what they can and cannot ask. Her PR firm will only walk her up to certain friendly journalists.
The rumors are true. Did Ryan Reynolds seriously abandon Blake Lively at the Another Simple Favor premiere to save his own reputation? I'm shaking. Their PR teams were scrambling behind the scenes, coaching them on exactly what to say and who to talk to. Blake's people were literally cherry-picking friendly journalists who wouldn't ask the hard questions. And hold on to your seats because this is wild. Chris Evans just blew the lid off a secret Marvel scandal that points directly at Blake and Ryan. I can't even. Hollywood's golden couple is under fire, accused of orchestrating such an outrageous Marvel scam that their picture-perfect image might be shattered forever. And guess who's spilling all the tea? Captain America himself. Behind all those perfect smiles and glamorous red carpet moments, Blake Lively has apparently been the mastermind of a completely devious scheme lurking in the shadows of the MCU.
Insiders are spilling on the real reason why Ryan Reynolds left Blake Lively alone on the red carpet amid the Anna Kendrick beef, and it's all about money.
Why would America's sweetheart do something so shocking? I'll tell you why. Pure greed. She supposedly wanted to seize the Marvel spotlight all for herself. Her alleged motive? She was absolutely desperate for Marvel fame and fortune. This explosive exposé has everything: secret backroom deals, leaked private messages, shocking betrayals, and trust me, we're just getting started. Did America's sweetheart really con the entire MCU and drag Ryan into her schemes? Or is there an even bigger, more scandalous twist waiting to be revealed?
Several other actors attended premieres at South by without their spouses or significant others. I mean, one, why are you responding?
Grab your popcorn because these receipts are about to shake Hollywood to its core. You absolutely do not want to miss this drama. Blake Lively arrived at what should have been the crowning moment of her career. This red carpet return was meant to silence all her critics and remind the world why she's a star. Instead, it turned into one of the most humiliating nights of her entire life.
Blake attended with her cast and filmmakers and had a great time. Several other actors attended premieres at South by without their spouses or significant others.
She walked into the Another Simple Favor premiere expecting the usual adoration, the cameras fawning over her like they always do, the industry embracing her as if nothing had changed in her perfect little world. But everything had changed. The energy was completely off from the moment she arrived. Yes, photographers still took their pictures, they had to, but the usual excitement, gone. Completely gone.
You're clearly unnerved. You didn't even need to respond. It's like, it's kind of, I wasn't that surprised that Ryan wasn't there. It wasn't his movie.
The smiles she received were tight and forced. Every interaction felt awkward and stilted. The entire atmosphere carried this weight that even Blake, with all her years of media training, couldn't pretend not to notice. And then, OMG, there was an actual protester standing outside the event with a sign that read, "Justice for Justin Baldoni." Blake lied. Can you believe it? It was super weird that Ryan was even there if he shows up to every single one of her movies that has nothing to do with him. I mean, wouldn't the reaction be so much worse if he didn't show up? This was not just some random heckler or angry fan. This was something far, far worse. A direct attack on her credibility. A public display of the resentment that's been brewing for months. Hollywood is built on illusion, but no amount of charm or perfectly placed smiles could erase the truth that was literally written in bold letters outside that premiere. For months, Blake had worked so hard to pretend all the chaos surrounding her wasn't happening.
So I can't fault him for not showing up. The fact that he's responding is interesting. It shows they're paying attention and they're unnerved.
The legal drama, the PR nightmare, all those rumors about her crumbling relationship with Ryan Reynolds, the explosive fallout from her feud with Baldoni, she just kept pushing forward like keeping up appearances would somehow magically undo all the damage. She seemed absolutely convinced that Hollywood would just play along, that the industry would fall in line again and let her control the narrative like she always has. But Hollywood had stopped listening. The industry had completely turned on her.
I stand by my report, and be prepared. Don't be mad at the messenger that I told you Anna Kendrick's not very nice either.
The media wasn't spinning stories in her favor anymore. And worst of all, the people she once called colleagues, friends, and supporters were making it crystal clear they wanted nothing to do with her anymore. The final devastating blow came when Anna Kendrick, her co-star and longtime industry peer, was asked what it was like to work with Blake again.
Blake Lively's done awful things to Justin and needs to pay the price in court. We'll find it out. But what I'm trying to warn you is, apparently Anna's no angel either.
It was the kind of softball question that Hollywood actors answer other with an automatic smile and some rehearsed response about how amazing and talented their co-star is, even when the truth is totally different. But Kendrick didn't even pretend. 4 words. 4 little words that landed heavier than any public scandal or tabloid exposé. There was no warmth, no attempt at fake Hollywood niceness. I'm telling you, this was more than just a little, oh, she's annoying moment. The complete disinterest in Kendrick's voice, the total lack of effort to maintain even the tiniest illusion of friendship, it said everything. Anna Kendrick did not want to be asked about Blake Lively. She didn't want to defend her. She didn't want to be forced into yet another fake Hollywood friendship just for press tours and box office numbers. And Kendrick wasn't the only one making her feelings crystal clear.
Get your ego in check. All you actors, get your egos in check. And yeah, I'm going to call out actors who have way too big of an ego.
Henry Golding, another one of Blake's co-stars, was asked how it felt to reunite with the cast. His response? Dripping with sarcasm. What could go wrong? That smirk, that barely concealed jab. It was all the confirmation the public needed. Blake Lively wasn't just struggling to maintain her image, she was actively losing the respect of the very people she needed in her corner. The industry had grown completely tired of her.
My guess is she's not going to bring him because he's almost more disliked than she is, and that her promo game is just to pretend that she's really scared of the public now, when she was the person who initially wanted all of this to be publicized because she was so confident in her power and her husband's power.
Hollywood's most successful stars maintain their power through relationships, through alliances, through carefully built networks of mutual benefit. But Blake's reputation had become absolutely toxic, and those alliances were crumbling before her eyes. The fashion world, which once adored her, was now keeping its distance.
Blake Lively apparently fought for top billing in this film. And these are things that we don't even consider as the public, but even when you see a movie poster, that's a fight between people of who's going to be on the movie poster, who's going to be presented as the star of this film.
The luxury brands that once made her the face of their campaigns, quietly cutting ties. Hollywood agents were literally warning studios against casting her, whispering that she was a financial risk. Producers watched the tension surrounding her and chose to stay far, far away. Even at South by Southwest, where she tried desperately to regain some sense of normalcy, the cracks in her facade were impossible to ignore.
And now that we know that Blake Lively is quite aggressive in general during these movie negotiations, it was revealed that she was similarly aggressive about The Simple Favor 2, and she wanted to be featured prominently.
She waved to fans, signed autographs, flashed that same perfectly polished smile she's always had. But no one was fooled. Blake Lively was not in control anymore. She had built her entire career on the illusion of effortless grace, on being the cool, composed, untouchable leading lady. But illusions only work when people actually believe them. And now, no one believed in Blake Lively anymore.
They will prepare for that a million different ways. They will tell journalists what they can and cannot ask. Her PR firm will only walk her up to certain friendly journalists.
The premiere of Another Simple Favor was not the triumphant moment she had hoped for. It was something else entirely, a public confirmation that the industry was washing its hands of her. This wasn't just a temporary setback or a minor controversy she could smooth over with a well-placed interview or a strategically planned public appearance. This was the end of something.
So this apprehension is kind of, like I said, just trying to make people feel bad. And I think it's kind of perfect karma that now there's this apparent friction between her and Anna Kendrick, real friction with her co-star.
Blake Lively was once the staple of Hollywood's A-list, a fashion icon, a box office draw, a name that carried serious weight in the industry. But the moment an actress becomes a liability, Hollywood moves on, and right now Blake Lively is a liability. The industry's patience had completely run out. Anna Kendrick's cold dismissal wasn't just personal, it was professional.
She wanted Blake Lively to address her ongoing battle with Baldoni.
She wasn't just done with Blake Lively as a person. She was done with Blake Lively as a brand. And Hollywood had reached the exact same conclusion. Blake may still try to push forward, still show up to events, still attempt to maintain the illusion of control. But the reality is brutally simple. She is no longer in control, no longer an asset, and no longer someone Hollywood wants to protect.
There obviously now is this big elephant that's in the room that no no one wants to acknowledge, and they're going to walk this red carpet and not acknowledge it unless, of course, Ryan Reynolds walks the red carpet with her.
The world sees through her now, and no red carpet, no forced smile, no carefully orchestrated PR campaign can change that. Blake Lively stepped onto that red carpet expecting a triumphant return, a moment to reclaim her place in Hollywood. But the atmosphere told a completely different story. The energy was off, the smiles around her forced, the enthusiasm completely absent. The industry that once adored her was now watching with quiet detachment, treating her not as a star making a comeback, but as someone they no longer needed.
So she's a serial fraudster. That's called fraud.
The illusion she worked so hard to maintain was crumbling in real time. Every step she took, every pose she struck was met with something far colder than criticism. Indifference, the kind of indifference that signals an irreversible shift, the moment when Hollywood collectively decides someone is simply no longer relevant. Blake Lively had spent years building her career on being the woman everyone wanted to be around, but now she was standing in the middle of a room full of people who couldn't wait to move past her.
Ryan, have you been doing all these ads live during our podcast?
Yes, of course. Anything for Strikeforce 5.
Outside the event, that protester held up a sign that cut through any remaining doubt about where things stood. Justice for Justin Baldoni. Blake lied. It was the kind of public humiliation that no Hollywood A-lister ever expects to face. A direct and personal attack that shattered any illusion that the public still viewed her as untouchable. This wasn't just a simple fan upset over a film. This was someone making a statement about her character. And it wasn't just one person.
Why is she wrong? We could all see it with our own eyes, what was happening on that red carpet and inside the premiere.
It was a reflection of a much bigger shift. For months, Blake had been pretending that the scandals and legal battles circling her were just temporary obstacles she could power through with the same polished PR moves she always relied on. But Hollywood is not forgiving, and it does not forget. The industry had already made its decision. Anna Kendrick, once considered Blake's friendly co-star, delivered a statement so brutally dismissive it instantly became the defining moment of the night.
There has always been this weird tension between Anna and Blake, always. There's interviews which they have done where it's just so uncomfortable.
When asked about working with Blake again, she barely concealed her lack of interest. Oh, you know. That was all she had to say. No excitement, no warmth, not even an attempt at professionalism, just 4 words laced with quiet rejection. Anna Kendrick's response had set the tone for the night, and there was absolutely no coming back from it. Hollywood has a way of collectively deciding when someone is no longer worth the effort, and Blake was now at the receiving end of that decision. Her past charm, her perfectly curated brand, her ability to manipulate media narratives, none of it mattered anymore. There was no sympathy for her, no curiosity about what she would do next. She was simply being left behind. She knew this feeling. She had seen it happen before. Hollywood had done this to countless actresses before her, women who had once been at the center of everything, only to wake up one day and realize they were no longer wanted. And now it was happening to her. She had built an empire on public perception, carefully controlling every aspect of her career, her personal life, and how she was presented to the world. But what happens when the world stops looking? What happens when the industry decides you're no longer useful? For Blake Lively, the answer was playing out right in front of her, second by excruciating second. She wasn't being vilified or attacked. She was simply being forgotten. And for Blake, that realization was far more crushing than any headline scandal. A public fall from grace could be fought against. An actor could issue statements, stage a comeback, lean on supporters willing to vouch for them. But being forgotten? That was irreversible. Hollywood wasn't turning her into a cautionary tale or a tabloid scandal. It was doing something worse, acting as though she never mattered in the first place.